In this video, we're going to look at the basics of lights and cameras. More specifically, we're going to look at the light entity, light component, camera entity, and camera component. So let's get started. All right, I'm starting here from the Amazon Sumerian dashboard, and I want to create an empty scene. And so I'm either going to select my create new scene up here, or I can just go to the empty scene template down there. Either one will take you to the same place. We'll call it lights and cameras. And this will make up a new scene for us. It is completely empty. It has a gray background, and the only entity it has in it is a default camera. So it does have this grid, but remember this grid is just viewable or seeable in editor mode, so you can turn that off or on. I like to keep it on because it gives you some sort of reference point to what's in your scene. Otherwise, it just looks like a big gray blob. So I'll turn that back on. One quick note, we're first going to look at lights and then we're going to look at cameras. But I do want to reference or just quickly talk about how you control your default camera within your scene. The default camera is an orbit camera, so it is always orbiting around a center orbit point. And so to orbit, you use your right mouse button, you click and hold, and you'll orbit all around a center point. Right now, and it's always going to be in the very center of your canvas, and so we're roughly moving, I might have moved it a little bit, but it's roughly moving around this point right here in the middle of our canvas. So that is the orbit movement. You can also pan by holding your shift button and then holding and dragging your left mouse button. And that'll, of course, shift your orbit point, and you can move around that way too. So those are the two basic movements for an orbit cam. And also note that when you're in editor mode, the editor camera is always going to be an orbit cam. Something important to remember. All right, we'll get back to cameras shortly, but right now let's move on to lights. But before we can really see how a light affects a scene, you have to add some entities that will reflect that light. So let's we'll click Create Entity up here above the canvas. We're going to create a disk or add a disk. And you can only see the disk. We'll pan back here. See, it doesn't look like anything here, but when I move around, disks are viewable from only one side. I'll select the transform component, and then for the X rotational value, I'll make it -90, and then for the scale, I'll make it 100. I'm going to change the color of this disk, so I'll select material, and then under the color property, I'll select the color picker. Right now, it looks to be this very light gray. I'm going to select this dark blue. All right, it doesn't look like much has happened. That's because we don't have any lights in our scene that will reflect this color. So that we'll see the change real soon. But we also want to add one other thing. So I'll click Create Entity, and we'll add a box. I'll move the box up just a bit, and then I will change the color of the box to some sort of red. All right. Good. Again, we can't see any of these color changes yet, but we will once we add a light. So let's go to Create Entity to add our first light, and under the lights category, we're going to select directional. A directional light, now we see some changes. A directional light acts like a light source that's infinitely far away. So it's meant to be kind of either like sunlight or moonlight. So I guess not necessarily infinitely far away, but really, really, really far away. And because of that, the translation setting, so where it actually is located specifically within your scene, so if I open the transform component, these values up here don't make a difference to your scene. So as I move this around, notice that the light reflected in our scene doesn't change at all. I like to move it just out of the way. That's just my personal preference. It doesn't make a difference, remember, but I just don't like the light, this little light icon, this little bulb that is reflected in editor mode, or that you can see in editor mode. I don't like that just in the middle of my scene, so I like to move it out of the way a bit. So that's important to remember about the translation values of a directional light. However, if I switch to rotation and I start editing the rotation of my scene, that does make a big difference. And so because how it is rotated is acting like, is the light source coming from directly up on top? Is it coming more directly from the side? And so if you want to create an environment that reflects midday or morning or evening, that's your rotation is going to make those changes. And if we rotate it this way, you can see the light being reflected differently on the box there. So directional lights. Rotation matters. Translation does not. Let's close the transform component, and I'm going to open the top level, or the top tab, and name this directional. Directional. All right. Now I'm going to hide it over here in the entities panel by clicking this eye icon. The light will disappear. Let's add another light, and let's add a point light. And let's select the translation handles over here. And as I move this around, notice that the light starts to be reflected in our scenes by the disk and by the box. This is because it's the exact opposite of a directional light. The translation values do matter, but rotation values do not. The reason is that point lights act like a light bulb. It emits light in all directions around the bulb in a spherical shape. And so because it's emitting a sphere-shaped light emission, the rotation doesn't matter. So you notice as I change the rotation, the light is not reflected any differently in our scene. So the directional lights, the translation values do not matter where the rotation values do. For point light, it's the exact opposite. The rotation values don't matter, but the translation values do matter. And so as you move it around in your scene, has everything to do with how the light is being reflected, because just like a light bulb's placement in a room makes a difference to the lighting of the room, same is true with a point light in a Sumerian scene. So that is a point light. If we go down to, and I didn't actually go over this in the directional light, the light component over here, you can change the intensity, the specular, which is how brightly it is reflected, and also the range, which is how far does it reach. And so that wire sphere reflects how far this light bulb will reach. And you can also change the color temperature. So do you want it to emit a red light, a white light, pink light, whatever you want it to be. I oftentimes just use white light unless for a very specific reason that I want to use something else. Let's rename this to point light. Okay, great. And now I'm going to hide this light also, and then we'll look at our last light type, which is spotlight. Spotlights act exactly like you would expect them to. They act like spotlights or flashlights. And so unlike directional or spotlights where some of the translation values don't matter, both translation and rotation do matter for a spotlight. So where it is located in a scene and how it is rotated. So I'm moving it up here. I'm going to move it back a bit. And it does have, if we look at the light components properties, same thing, the intensity, so how bright is it? The specular, how bright it shines, or how glossy it's reflected. The cone angle, as you notice, this is important, especially for spotlights. Is it a really wide cone, or is it very narrow in its light emission? We'll skip penumbra for right now, and range is again how far it reaches. Now, spotlights do allow you to add shadows. So if you click the shadows checkbox, we do have a shadow there. And as you move it around in your scene, your shadow changes, or you'll see it reflected for how close it is to your spotlight. And let's rename this spotlight before we move on. Okay. Point lights, however, if I select this one, do not give you the option to add shadows. Directional lights do allow you to add shadows. So to summarize, directional lights and spotlights, you can have shadows. Point lights do not have shadows. One thing to keep in mind is shadows are very compute heavy. So if you do add them to a scene, it could slow it down if you have a lot of shadows being added to your scene. So just keep that in mind, that it requires a lot more compute power. All right, that is the basics of lights. Now let's switch over to cameras. I'm going to turn on my directional light and then turn off my, well, we can leave the spotlight on, that's fine. All right, I mentioned earlier that the default camera is a it is an orbit camera. We are going to go ahead and add an orbit camera and see how it works. The one difference is the default camera, you cannot change the property settings for it, whereas if you add an orbit cam, even though it's really the same thing, it does allow you to change the property values to it. All right, so we added an orbit cam. Let's go up to the camera settings, the camera component up here. If you want it to be the main camera, you click main camera. That means that it will be the camera that is used when you enter play mode. And see, I'm moving it back here. And let's just angle it down. And you can also see what it will be seeing in this little preview window down here in the bottom left-hand corner of your canvas. So right now, I do not have it set to follow editor camera. So what that means is that when my editor camera obviously is seeing this larger view here, whereas this is the view of my main camera or my orbit cam. So when I press play, it'll switch to that view. There it is. I can still move around during play mode, but that is the starting point of my camera when in play mode. That's if I don't have the follow editor camera selection turned on. If I do have that selection turned on, you'll notice that whenever I move my camera, the preview changes to match whatever my canvas is seeing. That's because the editor camera is being followed by the orbit camera, which is set as the main camera. So when I press play, I'll start in the same spot. So that is the basics of the camera component. If you added clicking planes, this has to do with how close to the camera can see and how far away it can see. So right now it cannot see beyond 1,000. Excuse me. The camera cannot see beyond 1,000 units in our scene. If you open up the script component, that gives you a lot more options, property values to adjust for this camera. We're not going to get into that right now, so I'll close it in a second. If you do want to adjust that and mess with it and change your control buttons for your mouse and all that, you can do that here. We're not going to do it now, so we'll go ahead and close that. Now we're going to add a different light. We're going to look at the fly camera. All right, so the fly camera, of course, appears in the very center of our scene, just like everything does when we add it to our scene. And if you want to see how it works, the fly camera will only really be useful in play mode. So I need to open the camera component and set it as the main camera so that it will be the camera used in play mode. So I'll press play. And the way it works is using the WASD keys. So the W, A, S, and D keys. W makes it move forward. S makes it move back. A pans left. D pans right. And I can use my mouse, my left mouse button, to swivel the camera around in any direction I want. And I can be moving while I do this as well. So it acts kind of like a video game first-person view or control. All right, so I'll go ahead and stop. Create entity. We'll add a fixed camera. Fixed camera is exactly what it sounds like. It is fixed. You cannot move it. So if we add this to our scene, and I'll view it down here. There we go. And I select this as the main camera, and I press play. That is our view. I can't change it. The WASD keys don't work. The mouse controls don't work. It is fixed. So that is a fixed cam. Lastly is the 2D camera. The 2D camera is an isometric view that is used in games or applications like Sims, you may have noticed, or if you've ever played that game. And really what this is a 2D view of your scene. And also, one thing I'll note is that you can make any camera actually into a 2D cam, or what's called a parallel view is the projection type here. So what a 2D camera is, it has a parallel view, or a isometric view is another way to say it. So if you have played games like The Sims, it doesn't have a 3D view of the scene. It is only a two-dimensional view, and it can be controlled. Let's go ahead and press play, and we need to select this as the main camera. You can see the view down here in the preview window. So let's see how it works. We'll just press play, And there it is. It has this two-dimensional view of our scene. If we had multiple things in here, you would notice that it's not a 3D view. So those are the 4 different camera types. We have orbit cam, and where was it? Orbit cam, fly cam, fixed, and 2D. Orbit cam is by far the most common camera we use. Fly cam is very useful for a lot of different reasons. Fixed cam is a little bit more narrow because you don't want the person to be able to control the camera. There's actually a lot of uses for that. 2D camera is also useful, but much more specific for applications. So that is it for cameras and lights. We will have another tutorial that goes into a lot more detail, especially looking at the script property values for these. So please join us for that, or see the tutorial that you can find on our tutorials page. So that's it. Thanks for joining us.